So, Katie and Jacob.
Yeah, really.
How's everybody doing? My name is Cameron Toby, and I was lucky enough to be Jacob's roommate for a few years in college. But one of my favorite memories of Jacob, I actually wasn't there, was about another roommate Jacob had. And this roommate was when Jacob was a freshman living in Pinland. And he had a roommate named Lance Diamond, who Jacob really got along well with. And, Jacob was running around, being a freshman, you got a lot of stuff going on. Jacob was probably just studying, that's all he did. Well, Jacob comes after a long study session home. It's like, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, middle of the afternoon, on a weekday. And Jacob, sticks his key card into his dorm room, opens up the door, and he sees somebody in his bed. And to Jacob's surprise, there was a homeless man sleeping in Jacob's bed that his favorite roommate, Lance Diamond, had let in there for who knows what reason. And Jacob goes, "What are you doing?" And he looks back at Jacob and goes, "What are you doing?" So needless to say, whenever I get sad, I think of Jacob walking into a homeless man sleeping in his bed. Another story that actually involves living with Jacob that I was actually a part of. So we lived at this really disgusting house when we were in college. There were about 10 of us that lived there at one time. And Jacob, myself, and then another one of our roommates who couldn't make it, Zach, lived in the downstairs. And now, in college, we weren't exactly the cleanest people in the world, but I know Jacob has gotten a lot cleaner now. He's a Marine, so I know they wouldn't put up with that. I'm still working on it, so it's okay. But the best part about it was we had the downstairs bathroom, and we had a lot of people over at our house all the time, had people over, parties, whatever. And our bathroom would always be just the first one used, no matter what. And so Jacob, being the engineer that he is, installed his own personal toilet paper roll on the inside of his own room so no one could ever use his own toilet paper. Hey, you got yourself a handyman. No, but all jokes aside, Jacob has been an absolute joy to live with. He's an absolute, you won't find a more dedicated, loving guy than Jacob will. Or that Jacob is. There's been a lot of that sentence right there. No, but one thing I hope for all of my best friends is I want every single one of my best friends to outkick their coverage. Meaning that they end up with someone better looking than themselves. And you know what? Jacob, you did that. Hey, cheers to Jacob and Katie.
Brian Christensen. Jacob and I go way back. We met my sophomore year, his freshman year. I rushed him for the fraternity that we're all part of now. This crazy group of guys over here. Jacob was just a real pleasure to be around, and I'm really glad that he rushed Kappa Sig and we're in the same fraternity. But there was one night, about halfway through his pledging, where we would scare the crap out of him and his friends, and we would tell them, "Hey, be prepared for anything tonight. We're going to take you somewhere far away, figure out your way to get home, pretty much. Maybe put a cell phone in your pocket, don't know what's going to happen. We were messing with them. I promise you, your kids should rush Cappasaga Baylor. But anyways, this was the night that the pledges got their bigs, their big brother. And so we took them out to this field nearby. We scared them a little bit. And the bigs, myself, were revealed to the littles, which is Jacob. And that was as special a moment for me as it was for Jacob. It was a really cool moment. We kind of paired each other together, and we were chosen to be together, and that was a really, really cool moment. Just throughout college, Jacob was always a guy that you could always count on. If you had a flat tire, he'd be there. He'd help you do whatever you needed. So I think that speaks a lot to you and what you're doing, Katie. And I think, Katie, for you, I think it speaks volumes that you planned this entire weekend by yourself. Jacob was off in San Diego. I mean, you couldn't even reach him for a phone call or anything. And so I think that speaks volumes about you. So that's what you're getting from it. Be careful what you wish for. But in all seriousness, it's a great weekend, and I'm happy to be here, and it's a joy to be here. So cheers.
Alright, so I'm pretty terrified of public speaking, but I'm more terrified of Chuck Wilson. He's taking me a look back through my get up there and say something. I'm okay. So, we all grew up with Jacob, played football, lit his microwave on fire a couple of times. I apologize for that. But Jacob was always there for us. He was always one of the best friends we could have. I remember there was a tornado that hit Waco while we were in high school, I think. And the only part of town that still had electricity was your part of town. So we all called you up and we were like, hey man, can we come hang out? Can we stay at your place? You were like, sure, happy dad. So we went over there, we played football, waited out the tornado, and had a great time. You were always there for us, and that's one of the things I'll remember most. In college, you'd always call me up whenever you were in College Station. Be like, hey man, I'm bringing some friends in, can we stay with you? Of course. I'd always come to Waco, be like, hey, I'm bringing some friends, can we stay with you? Of course. That's just the relationship that we had, and you were one of the most reliable people I've ever met. That's what you're getting, Katie, one of the most reliable people. I remember he started dating you and he just kept talking about this girl, I was living in Denver, so I never got to come down. Finally got to come down and meet you, and I was like, you know what? She's different. We're going to be seeing her around for a while. Then Jacob went off to the Marines, let us know he was getting married, and we couldn't be happier. We couldn't be happier to be here with you both today. And congratulations, and I couldn't be happier.
Okay, we on? My name's Uncle Doug. Been called Uncle Doug for about 30 some odd years now. But to Jacob, I was Uncle Doug to begin with. And I have only one niece and one nephew, so I'm going to have to make this count. And I'm actually going to pretend I'm a millennial and use my phone. I won't say any of the most embarrassing things, but I will say that there was one day in our lives that he served as the icing on the cake for that particular day. Thanksgiving, 1993. Okay? Yeah. Some of you may remember that for a different reason, which I'll bring up in a minute. But first of all, they're living in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. Chuck is gallivanting around the world somewhere. We're in Delaware, my wife and I, pre-kids. And we decide we're going to go down. Marty's cooking Thanksgiving dinner that day. We drive, Thanksgiving Day. I get a ticket for 56 and a 55. That cop was not happy, he was working. We go and watch Dallas lose to Miami because Leon lets a bonehead. And I've gone almost 30 years without ever changing a diaper until Jacob came along. But anyway, I do want to wish you the best, and I want to give you a little advice. You've been through some of the toughest training on the planet. Boot camp, Marine Corps training, combat training. You're in your technical training, but you're about to start the hardest training of your life. Husband training. And as a 32-year veteran, as my wife will say, probably 18 of the best years of her life. A couple of things I'll leave you with. If you're not hearing what your wife is saying, it's because you're not listening. If your wife does not understand what you were saying, it is because you're mumbling. I do want to ask, do Marine regs allow you to hold a person long? You may want to check that one out first, because it will happen. Someone's going to ask.
Twice in 32 years, 2 times.
Just one. And the last thing here is, I think you don't need this advice because you've already put it into practice, but someone once told me, marry your best friend and hope that God it's a girl. As an outlaw, we're adding to our allies. So we love you both very much. Welcome to the family.